I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Thursday, March the 9th, brought to you in part by the new Nasogen. Bovolus Nasogen 3 PMH is a one-of-a-kind respiratory vaccine that provides unmatched protection to young calves. It also leaves a unique blue shadow so you can keep track of which ones that you've treated. For more information, go to unmatchedprotection.com. WSDA report come out on Wednesday morning. That's the World Ag Supply and Demand estimates on crops. The corn ending stocks were raised significantly. That's the amount of corn that we have left over from last year's crop. U.S. ending stocks were raised. They pegged them at 1.342 billion bushels. That's well over trade estimates of 1.305. World ending stocks of corn come in at 296.5 million metric tons. That was raised from trade estimates of 293.2, fairly significant. Also, this month's U.S. corn exports were reduced by 75 million bushels. This is all bearish short term for the corn, which everybody had kind of been looking at new crop corn, even though we're a ways out from planting that crop. With all this snow stacked up all over the Midwest, we're hoping and expecting deep soil moisture for the emergence of that to come on pretty quick whenever it gets time to do that. And it was bearish for corn because it come out in the morning, and then you had your board open through the day, and corn was down fairly significantly. So, you know, what'd that do? That's another shot in the arm to feeder cattle. And we saw new highs marked in many spots on feeder cattle throughout. I'm going to give you that like I always do. But these lightweight stockers that are going to be on the new crop whenever they go to feed, and they're going to be cheapened up, and we're expecting to have a lot more forage available this summer than what we've had for the last couple of summers. And pretty much you just can't give too much for these lightweight stockers, or even your middleweight stockers. And a lot of people are buying stockers heavier than before because feed's been so high and forage has been so short that they're not going to worry about having a heavy yearling to come off late this summer or this fall, and it won't take as long to finish those out. But we are expecting that your next thing on the grains that's going to be significant is planted acre intentions. So we'll look for that. There's a report that comes out for that at the end of this month. So we'll see what that's going to be. And we're expecting people to plant a lot of corn because of the price that it's been here ever since we started cutting it last year, even before that, and also on the weather. But we're moving into a wet kind of a cycle right now. You've seen all the moisture that we've gotten out west, the big snows out there, the big rains. The places that are dry always, they're still dry. Texas Panhandle, up through western Oklahoma, southwest Kansas. Southwest Kansas is terrible, terrible drought. But other areas that grow a lot of corn, other areas that make a lot of grass and a lot of forage and a lot of hay are getting significant moisture. So we've seen new highs on these lightweight stocker calves. It wasn't big enough for an individual quote at the end of the report, but I was talking to Jake Billington at Twin Falls Livestock Commission in Twin Falls, Idaho. They've had a ton of moisture out there. Saw a new high on lightweight stocker calves. He sold a package of 377-pound steer calves, black, thin condition calves there, weighed 377, bring 322. So that's a new high. We haven't seen that yet, not on this rally anyway. And I was talking to Jake Billington. He was doing the auctioneering whenever they did that. He figured he'd start up there pretty high, but ended up having to back up to start the bidding at 225. And he told me that he had to use the jump a high method that's been patented by famous Kansas auctioneer Dick Weedle the Bull to get him all the way up to the 322. But in fact, he was able to do that. So congratulations to him. Coming to you from Butler, Missouri. I gave a presentation on Wednesday night at Mocan Livestock Market. That's the Herzogs. Jim Herzog and his sons Brian and Todd there, and also got to tour their new packing plant. They're right now slaughtering 75 head of cattle a day, which is not big, but for a small plant it's fairly significant. They're selling all of that product to Springfield Grocers on a new contract that they recently signed with them, and that's a reputable, long-time family company there, but selling locally raised and sourced and aged and really done right. Everything you want to talk about. If you want to talk about having locally sourced beef, that's what they're doing right here at the Passaic exit, which is just north of Butler, Missouri. And they're doing it in a nice way. They've also got a small retail shop there for you people that are interested in doing that, and having pretty brisk online sales too. But if you guys are interested, check out Herzog Meats. Let's talk about your board for Wednesday. April live cattle down 52 cents at 165.45. Still a little bit of premium to last week's weighted average in your 5-area feeding region. We haven't established trade yet this week, but it's looking like it's probably going to be higher again. We're expecting to see some seasonal pressure here as we go through, and we probably expect your market to back up at some point because we've been on such a big rally, but I don't see it happening anytime soon unless your negotiated sellers trip up somewhere along here, and they haven't shown any signs of it yet. June live cattle up 10 cents at 160.65, and that's reflecting that seasonal pressure we're expecting, but we're not seeing any big slugs of market-ready cattle out there. We're expecting your packers to still be pretty aggressive in their slaughter. So, I'm thinking that we're probably going to recover from that, but expecting your cattle futures to show what the market should be in the future is not really what they do anymore. I think that's why they were started, though. But your back months on live cattle range from up 7 cents to up 57 cents. March feeder cattle up $1.62 with that corn being cheaper at $193.75. April up $1.40 at $200.07 a hundred there. Your back months were all higher on feeder cattle, from up 160 to up 210. From April on, all of your feeder cattle traded months are over $2 a pound. Talk about that corn that we talked about from your WSDA report there. March corn futures down 7.5 cents a bushel, ending regular trading at 634.5. December new crop down 9 cents at 558. March beans were actually up 1.5 cents a bushel there, and they were kind of bullish on that WSDA report for the beans, but ending regular trading at 15.26 cents a bushel. Fat cattle trade, haven't traded hardly anything on a direct basis in your 5-area feeding region. On Wednesday, traded a couple of hundred head in Iowa at 262 dressed. Why anybody would want to take 262 dressed when the market's 265, I have absolutely no idea, but that goes to show you there wasn't much there. But Kansas, 100 head at 163. Why you would sell cattle at 163 in Kansas when the market's 165 before the trading starts, I have no idea. Maybe they were muddy in that spot. Maybe it was in northern Kansas, but we just won't know what happened there. But they did have a brick and mortar fat cattle auction up in the northern plains at Sioux Falls Regional Livestock in Worthing, South Dakota. Market was steady to $1 higher on your fat cattle there, and significantly more cattle than we've traded on a direct basis so far this week. But your conventional cattle sold from 163 to 168.25. That's pretty much the market on a direct basis too. But the consignments that were black, clean, and non-implanted sold from 170 to 173.50. Significant premium to what our market is right now. Box beef cutout values were mixed, with choice down hard, down 315 on Wednesday afternoon at 284.78. Select was up 63 cents at 278.12, narrowing that choice select spread on Wednesday afternoon at $6.66, right as we get into just about time to break the grills out, and that's whenever we normally see that spread out, but that's the way it was. Your slaughter for the first 3 days of the week, 378,000. That's 2,000 more than last week, 7,000 more than the same week a year ago. Talk about what else is going on. Been having a lot of fun here with the Punchy Pick of the Month contest here on the Feeder Flash, and we invite you to send in your punchy picks. Whenever you get those, you catch those kind of impromptu picks when you're out doing your regular activities. Send those picks to punchy@nationalbeefwire.com. That is supported, and the prize comes from Beaver County Stockyards. You get some swag from Beaver County Stockyards, and they got some cool stuff. You get some more swag from Beaver Feeds in Beaver, Oklahoma right there. And then don't forget, you get that case of Therapiece, that topical product that's revolutionary and it's calming cattle down. Just rub it on their nose or their muzzle, and you rub it on their poll, and it calms those cattle down. If you're interested in that product, go to Feraah, FERAAH.com. Talk about your feeder cattle market, your real-time index on DV auction based on an 800-pound cash auction steer up through the middle 12 states, setting on Wednesday night late at 190.13. That was up 57 cents. And don't forget, guys, if you've got some cattle put together, you're going to be turning those cattle out and grazing them this summer, and you know they're going to be worth a lot of money. You know they're going to make some money. Don't be tempted to sell those cattle early before we started seeing any contracting going on. We don't really know what the market of those is going to be, and we can't really trust your futures market. But you can go in there and get an LRP. If you want to look at LRPs, you want to talk to somebody about LRPs, talk to them at Livestock Risk Services. Go online at livestockriskservices.com. That's Dakota Moss. Call them and tell them you can lock those cattle in for not too much money and sleep and rest and vacation all summer while those cattle are turned out, instead of contracting them like right now way under what the market's likely to be as we move on here later in the spring and summer. Let's talk about our big sales on Wednesday. OKC West, El Reno, Oklahoma, 9,000 head for their 2-day sale with calves on Tuesday, yearlings and feeders on Wednesday. Your market on feeder steers was $2 to $5 higher. Feeder heifers was mixed a little bit. Those weighing under 750 pounds were $2 to $4 higher. Those weighing more than 750 pounds selling mostly steady. Calves were fully steady. Pee-wee calves weighing under 450 pounds, $4 to $8 higher. But like I said, you can't really give too much for those calves right now. The pounds don't add up that quick as to what the money is, and you can cheapen those cattle up, and they're going to be worth so much down the line. Talk about a stick-out sale in El Reno. How about 74 steers weighed 700 pounds at $199 in central Oklahoma? How about Dodge City, Kansas? Winter Livestock had 2,700 head for their sale, mostly higher. They did quote in there, which I always give my frustrations about the market reporting in Kansas, but mostly higher. But they did call the 600 to 800 pound steers cheaper. That would be the only 600 to 800 pound steers that would be cheaper in the continental United States. They did have a stick-out sale, and it was in that weight group in Dodge City. 70 steers weighed 798 pounds at $189. Not sure what that would be cheaper compared to. Talk about your Zoeta stick-out sale of the day. Cherokee Sales Company in Cherokee, Oklahoma had a good sale. That's in dry part of western Oklahoma, guys. 365 head of 8-weight steers averaged 827 at $186.10 on your weighted average. It was about $7.50 higher than last week. 629 head 9-weight steers averaged 943 with a weighted average price of $175.61. That would be $4 higher about. And then on the heifers, your best tested weights, 395 head of 8-weight heifers averaged 836 with a weighted average price of $171.74, about $6 higher than last week. Give you some individual quotes. How about one we rarely talked about, if ever? Davies County Livestock Market in Gallatin, Missouri. That's owned by Dave Cannon there. commission agent Barry Bowes, my good longtime friend that used to commission cattle into the St. Joe stockyards forever, had an old consigner from St. Joe stockyards come over to Gallatin, sold 98 head of replacement heifers, weighed 699 or 700 pounds at 195 and a quarter. Good sale for those guys at Gallatin, Missouri. How about Stockman's Livestock Market in Yankton, South Dakota? The feeder sale, 193 head of near beer heavy feeders there, weighed 1036 at 178.75. But the best quote that I saw anywhere on Wednesday, your Macrison no BS top quote for the day, come out of Equity Cooperative in Waukon, Iowa. 93 steers weighed 707 pounds at $2.1650. That's your feeder flash for Thursday.